Be careful what you wish for. If you work with this week's Scorpio new moon, I mean it. This is not a new moon to play with unless you are ready for potent, drastic change. That is what this new moon delivers to you. But with the Scorpio new moon opposite Uranus and trining Neptune, it is a reminder that all that glitters is not gold. And sometimes the universe answers your prayer, but in a way that you did not expect or intend. This is not a new moon of getting overly tied to the end result, the glittery end result. Because for some of you, when working with this new moon, you could be like, universe, are we having a Mercury retrograde miscommunication? Like, did you misunderstand me? I asked for the love of my life, and instead you gave me dreams about my exes and a desire to reread my old journals. Like, what? Or universe, I asked for exponential business growth, but instead you gave me all of these foundational issues from my business popping up. I asked for thriving friendships that have my best interests at heart, and instead you gave me the removal of the few friends that I thought that I had. Like, hello, are you playing a practical joke on me? Are we lost in translation? Like, what is happening here? And the reality is these unexpected events, these removals, these problems, whatever surfaces, they're all preparing you for that end result. Scorpio energy embodies the only way to the other side of the version of you who has that relationship, who has those thriving friendships, who has that thriving business, whatever it is. There's a lot of transformation in between point A and point B. Are you ready for that transformation? Are you committed to that transformation in order to get there? Because sometimes the universe answers us around, okay, you can have thriving friendships that have your best interests at heart, but that is not who is in your life currently. And so we have to remove that in order to get you there. Or you can have that thriving business, but you do not have the bandwidth currently with the issues of your tech software in order to support that. So we need to draw your attention to that before we give you the growth. Or you can have the love of your life, but dear God, if you don't heal from Jack from 2 years ago, you're going to bring all of that baggage into this new relationship. Do you want what it is that you desire enough in order to commit to the transformation to get there? In order to trust in the universe if certain things get removed from your life? In order to attune to how it is that you're being prepared for that manifestation? We can get so caught up in the glittery end result, right? This new moon trines Neptune, what it would look like, what the pictures would look like, what the posts would look like. But there is an underbelly, there is a shadow side to anything that we call in. And sometimes we can seek to run from ourselves, run, oh, this will fix it, this will fix it. My love, Mercury retrograde aligns with the sun this week in Scorpio. This is an ask where we have to look in the mirror around, are you really running towards something or are you running away from something? This is really the sort of astrology that asks us to face the skeletons in our closet. You can think that moving, then you don't need to deal with the skeletons in the closet, but it's like, who's going to buy the house with your skeletons still there? Someone's got to face it, and it's going to be you. If you desire to move, to upgrade, to evolve, you got to face what already exists. And you got to be willing to do the hard work, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, in order to evolve. The cost of anything that you are calling in is the letting go of what exists currently. Where yes, we may desire the new house, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be grief as we move out of the old house. We may desire friends who genuinely have our best interests at heart, but it still is shocking and rattling when people just poof, vanish from our lives. To grow means to outgrow. To receive the new means to grieve the old. And this new moon asks you, do you really want this? Do you really desire this? Are you ready to let go? Are you ready to release? Are you ready to trust? Are you ready to face? Are you ready? And so within this video, we will talk about everything that you need to know about this new moon and this astrology altogether, because that I just shared with you is just a smidge, my love. We also enter Sagittarius season this week. Uranus in Taurus sextiles Neptune in Pisces. Mercury re-enters Scorpio, trines Jupiter. The sun trines Saturn. We have a lot to discuss. We're going to need some coffee to discuss it. Take a step inside my cosmic cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on to start your week. So I am drinking this maple pecan coffee. It's giving me all of the fall feels, and it's a little like dreary and and cozy outside in San Diego. Finally getting a little chilly over here. So I'm feeling cozy. I've got my long sleeve on. I have my little slippers on. Hopefully you're also on a cozy vibe. You know, the Scorpio new moon may be asking us to get out of our comfort zone, but we could bring some comfort to the body as we do the necessary uncomfortable spiritual and psychological growth that all the Scorpio energy requires as we wrap up Scorpio season. I want to let you all know that this is the final week of Galactic Givebacks. Thank you all so much for your nominations, for being here. The ad revenue for this video, as well as the ad revenue for my past 2 videos on the channel, will be donated to the featured nonprofit that I talk about within Cosmic Café. This week is extra special because you all voted on the nonprofit that we will be donating to, and the winner of the poll that I had on my channel, which PS, all of the organizations that I posted are absolutely incredible. Make sure to check them out if you feel inspired to give back. This week's Galactic Give Back will go to South Sound Parent to Parent. This is an organization that supports children who have disabilities, who have an illness, and it seeks to give parents resources, knowledge, information that helps with raising children who have disabilities or have an illness. And of course, practical resources can be huge. Practical support can be huge. But what I love about South Sound Parent to Parent, from what I've been diving into, is that it also seeks to give a support network. You know, this week's Scorpio energy really reminds us the emotional, the spiritual, the psychological undercurrents that go into anything. And of course, it's so helpful as a parent to have resources in order to support your children, but also having people who understand and can really walk with you and support you in an arena that not everybody necessarily knows the ins and outs about. So thank you all so much for participating in Galactic Givebacks. This really made my heart feel so warm to be able to utilize all of our collective, magical, sparkly energy to benefit these worthy causes. We can make a difference when we work together, and I would love to make this a regular occurrence on my channel. I would also love to do something in the future that gives back to you all. So I'm open if anybody has any ideas, if that would take shape and form within a giveaway, or if somebody within the cosmic corner of the internet is moving through something, navigating, and they are open to receiving support around that. I'm open to any and all ideas that you have. I would love to be able to give back to you all as well as this world altogether. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. So welcome to Vibe Check of the Week. This is a segment here on Magic Monday where we take all of the astrological events this week, which, spoiler alert, there's quite a few, and we compare it to a real life scenario in order to tell a celestial story and give you a picture of what may surface within your world. It's not me saying that this exact situation will play out within your world, but when you tune into some emotions, some themes, some dynamics of the Vibe Check of the Week, you may see similar ones surface within your world. So we will say in this week's Vibe Check that you have had your cell phone for some time now. You've had your mobile device for many years, and it has been glitching more than usual lately. You know, as all technology does with Mercury retrograde, especially this week with Mercury opposite Uranus, but it has become nearly unbearable how challenging it is to use this device. Everything is taking so much longer, and you're not able to take any new photographs without deleting old photographs because you're so out of storage. You have to like delete apps if you happen to go to an event that you may want to photograph something towards, and you just reach a breaking point when you go to your son Tommy's baseball game and he hits a home run and you're trying to take photos and it's like you're out of storage, so you have to delete your Gmail app. You're like, okay, enough is enough. I hate this stupid phone. What did I say this week? At the beginning of your forecast, I said, be careful what you wish for. Your words are your spell. And that is incredibly aligned with this week's astrology, just with the Mercury Cazimi midweek, the sun aligning with Mercury, Mercury involved in this new moon. You saying, stupid phone, I hate this phone, I need a new phone. Lo and behold, the next day you wake up, you have a really busy day, you have a bunch of meetings today, and you go to check your phone and the phone screen is completely black. And you're like, no, I didn't mean what I said yesterday about stupid phone. I hate this phone. I didn't mean any of that. Love you. Please work today out of all days. I swear, technology can really smell fear, especially with Mercury retrograde. If you're going to print something before a big presentation, you gotta be calm, cool, and collected so that the printer cooperates with you. I swear, it's like technology decides to stop working when we're very heightened or when we're very stressed or we really need it to work, which is why it's important with Mercury retrograde just to give yourself a bit of a buffer. But sometimes life is chaotic, and that's this week of astrology, really, with these Uranus aspects. You know, life throws us some curveballs. Life may have thrown Tommy a home run, or rather thrown the pitch that aided him in hitting a home run, but sometimes it throws us some curveballs, some things that hit us by surprise. And so you've just been trying to navigate, get everything done, and you just really, really need your phone to work. And of course, it is not working, and it is down to the wire as it relates to an important meeting that you are moving to, and it's in a different location, and you don't have your phone in order to GPS how to get there. So you have to go old school, you have to go online and print MapQuest. Is MapQuest still a thing? You have to print out the directions. Hopefully your printer is cooperating. And as you are driving across town, fighting for your life with these printed MapQuest directions, just in the hustle and bustle of the panic of trying to get this meeting on time, you can't help but feel a little frustrated. Like, universe, really? Why would you do this to me? Why am I being punished after all of the different curveballs that I've been navigating with? Why is it that now you take away my phone? Maybe I wanted a new phone, but why like this? And we will say you get to the meeting, and in the chaos of the week that you're navigating, you still manage to give a flawless presentation and you lead the meeting beautifully, which is really a testament to your courage and your willpower and your resolve. Sometimes life just requires you to lock in and you just leave the frazzled energy at the door and you just remain focused on giving the best presentation possible, which is exactly what you do. You're in a part of town that you're not typically in, and it just so happens that your phone carrier does have a location right across the street. And so you go over and you learn that there's some sort of rebate, there's some sort of deal, and you're able to get a new device. And it runs so much smoother that you're like, I cannot believe that I was having to choose between having the Gmail app on my phone or taking a picture of Tommy. Like, I can't believe I was living like that. I didn't know it could be so good. I didn't know it could get so good. But the cost of me having this new phone was the release of the old phone. Why was I so clung to that? Of course, there's a financial contemplation as well as the memories that are on your old phone. There was a moment that you got very emotional at your phone carrier when you recognized that not all of your photos were backed up to the cloud. And these are photos you really cared about, because there are so many times where it's like, I need to be able to download this particular app, so I've got to delete some treasured memories. Got to delete some photos. If you've ever been in like storage hell, you know what I'm talking about. And the photos that keep, it's like, well, this is a picture of Tommy when he was turning 2. And like, this was a really treasured memory. Like, those are keepers, right? They made it through all of that storage panic when you had to clear up space on your phone. And it turns out that not all of those photos were backed up, which of course you do feel the loss of and the grief of, really. But you also feel the space, like the literal space that is opened up within your phone, but also within your life around, oh, new memories, new things to document, a new era, a new season of my life. Maybe there was a resistance to really going through all of the footage. Like, there were certain months that, oh, we don't talk about May 2024. We don't talk about April 2011. Like, that's just a part of the camera roll that I don't like to go to, whatever that may be. That may be different person to person. But whatever those months are that you're like, oh, I don't want to view those photos, or I don't want to view that part of my journal. If you've gone through some sort of breakups or some sort of traumatic, hard circumstance, there's an energy around, I don't want to delete these things altogether because maybe there's some significance there, but it also hurts to acknowledge. And on my phone, on my device, in my journal, it is taking up space. So sometimes that can keep us from doing a deep dive and releasing everything from the camera roll. And it's there taking up space where we're not able to document Tommy's home run because we're holding on to photos from our most recent relationship, where of course we're still heartbroken about it, but we don't want to quite release the images of that time of our life just yet. So we're in that weird purgatory around, I don't want to face what's there, but it's taking up space for me to be able to receive. And so a weird sensation comes over you with the phone carrier where, sure, it feels so good to have this new device and there's space to take new photos and to create new content if you're a content creator, or to actually be able to FaceTime now in order to create new connection, or have certain apps around certain interests that you have. You're able to have that plant app that tells you how to best water your plants, whatever it is. Sure, this is the beginning of something new and the beginning of something great, but there's also waves of grief that hit you as you recognize what is not on this device. That breakup in April 2011 of those images that hurt to see, but also hurt to know that they're completely gone, because it's just another rung of grief, of grieving that relationship. There's also the grief of individuals who are no longer on this planet. You had photos of your grandpa on that phone that weren't fully backed up, and it's like losing him all over again because you recognize you don't have those images of his laugh, of his birthday party. And you've already been out of the relationship. You've already lost your grandpa, but it like hits you all over again, that next wave of grief and of loss. And so you can recognize that this is a new chapter for your device. You can maybe take the knowledge around how to adequately back up photos that are really important to you. You can really create an energy of acceptance around that relationship from April 2011, like fully letting that person go. You can really acknowledge that and release that. You can take all of that while still feeling the sadness around, ooh, that relationship from April 2011 is really over. I won't have photos of that person on this new phone. Or gosh, my grandpa's really gone. Or gosh, my kids are no longer in diapers and I lost some of the photos of that time of their life. Like you can feel the grief of that while also feel the new chapter that is opening up. It's bittersweet. Where yes, this is what you wanted. Like ultimately at that Facebook game, you said, I want a new phone, I want a new phone. And the universe gave you just that, but in a way that was a bit disruptive, that was a bit unexpected. You know, life tends to hit us like that. Sometimes we get what it is that we desire, what it is that we're calling in. And sometimes we experience certain like angelic alignment. Like it just so happened that they were having that sale and the place was right there. Like we can feel the universe aligning the new while also feeling the melancholia around making peace with the old or releasing the old. And so I'm not putting it out there, knock on wood, literally, that all of us need to get new phones this week or that we have technical difficulties this week. But you may find that you do get what it is that you desire in a way that you were not anticipating around. Really, universe, a new phone couldn't have just floated from the sky. You had to make the screen turn black. Like, really? Why'd it have to come up like that? Or I was calling in this new beginning to call in a new relationship, but really, you released all of the photos from my April 2011 relationship, or I was calling in a new chapter, a new era of my life to learn more about my plants, and I was gifted a device that helps me do that, but there was a toll of entry for that. As I highlighted, the cost of getting what it is that we want and getting what it is that we desire is having to release the old. And there's also an ask to be mindful what it is that you wish for or call in. You know, words are spells. So being mindful what it is that you declare, what it is that you decree, both out loud as well as to the universe around this is what I desire. This is what I desire. I want a new chapter. I want a new relationship. I want a new season of my life. I want space. I want openness. I want presence. Whatever it is, are you ready for how the universe may answer those prayers in a way that you did not expect, did not intend? Are you ready to have another rung of releasing the past, of grieving the past, of letting go in order to call in what is coming in? So, of course, we will give more texture and nuance to this week's vibe check as we take it into our day-by-day analysis. I just want to remind you all that I am located in California, so I utilize the time zone PST. Please adjust to your local time zone if you are located elsewhere. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, November 17th. On Monday, November 17th, the Scorpio sun will trine Saturn after midnight, which completes the water grand trine that is aligned in the cosmos currently, which is the energy of things coming together, things aligning, even in unexpected ways with all of this Uranus energy this week. How sometimes things that we would deem as the worst thing ever could genuinely be a prayer answered, and that you have unseen forces who are working to protect you and align you to circumstances and situations that are for your highest and best good. And sometimes the universe answers us in terms of getting the opportunity or moving forward in this particular way. But sometimes it speaks to us in terms of blockages, things not working out, can sometimes be a godsend. You never know how it is that you are being protected. You never know how those rejections are a protection, or how those delays and detours are leading you to where exactly you need to be, leading you to your phone carrier store at the time that they're having this particular sale and giving you this amazing new device that's going to be helpful for connection and learning and taking photos and being present for the next season of your life, feeling like you fully have the space to document it. Like, you never know how things are being aligned for you. And sometimes the universe delivers us what we desire, what we are made for, what was made for us, in ways that don't seem, at first glance, all that good. This is Sun trining Saturn, and Saturn energy is around restriction, barriers, boundaries. Like, sometimes we are blocked from certain things. We wanted something and it's a no. We wanted someone and it's a no. And we can grieve that and feel the hurt of that, while also acknowledging it was not meant to be. If it was meant to be, it would have been. And where is it that I can trust in that, even if that does not feel very visible or apparent to me at this particular moment in time? Oftentimes, rejection can genuinely be the universe's protection. The universe hears conversations that you are not in. It sees to people's intentions that you are not privy to. And sometimes you got to trust and let the universe do what it does. Have you ever said the prayer, the removal prayer? Like, universe, if this person is not meant for me, if they are not for my highest and best good, please remove them from my world. Oftentimes, that is when their true colors will show up, or straight up, they will just vanish off the place of the earth. And you gotta do it with that intention around, genuinely, I only want this person within my life if they are truly meant for me, if they are truly in alignment with my path. And if not, remove them. But you got to find some sense of serenity when they do get removed. You cannot chase after them like, wait, no, I revoke the prayer, never mind. Even if their very act of being removed from my reality is telling on them and their heart and their intentions, or just their alignment within my path, I still want this person. I don't want to feel rejected. Whatever it is, whether it's a job opportunity, whether it's a place, sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes it's straight up a no, this is not meant to be part of your world. Sometimes it's a not yet, and things align in a much more favorable time. I want to highlight that this year, my intention for the year is that I really wanted to go to Bali. That was my plan this summer, was to essentially move to Bali. And when I say I hit so many snags and roadblocks, even just like motivation wise or creativity wise, when you're in flow, there's nothing that can get in your way. And it was like every time I tried to put energy towards planning Bali, dealing with logistics around Bali, I was not inspired. I was hitting roadblocks. I was hitting restrictions. Versus when I put energy towards essentially building this set and redoing the YouTube show so that it's a podcast now as well, there was so much inspiration. There was so many creative juices flowing in that direction. So many random occurrences happened in order to bring everything into fruition. I've shared before just some of the magical stories around like finding and sourcing the artwork and the frames and the equipment, and just how inspired I was to create the little Magic Monday video. If you've seen it on my Instagram, I loved finding the vintage clips for that and editing that so much. My energy was flowing there, and it wasn't flowing at all towards Bali. And I was like, universe, I want to go to Bali. I want to go to Bali. I'm calling in Bali. But instead, this other corridor, this other pathway, this other stream of energy and attention basically swept me away. Water energy could be very powerful. It can just kind of sweep you away, where I was trying to doggy paddle towards Bali and it just wasn't aligning. And now I feel so incredibly blessed that I am going in 2026. And even better, I'm going with some of you, leading an astrology retreat in Bali. Like, it is so magical. I would not have even known to ask for that or to call that in from the universe. So the universe was like, girl, we've got you covered on Bali, but not right now. Set up your pod. We'll go to Bali next year. Like, you never know how things are being aligned, whether it's a not yet or this is just not for your path. This is not meant to be. And sometimes you got to trust it's not meant to be and flow in the direction of what does feel juicy and alive and inspiring, moving with the flow of that. Sometimes when we're so fixated around it, we miss out on opportunities where creativity or inspiration could be wanting to take us in a different direction, in a very solid direction, with the Saturn energy, like really building a solid foundation for ourselves. So there's also an invitation to stay very focused on the big picture of something. You may have some detours and delays, this Mercury retrograde, and you never know how your energy now may pay off with time. Like, Saturn is very much around time, it's around foundations. And so sometimes you can feel dejected when it feels like your efforts are not paying off right now. Sometimes your ego can take a hit with the energy of Sun, but you have to go in the direction of what makes you feel alive, of what feels creatively fulfilling. And you never know what it is that you are being prepared for or what it is that you are building. You never know how a future version of you is looking back at this version of you like, thank you. Thank you for doing the work genuinely to heal from this past relationship. Thank you for doing all this foundational, annoying business stuff in order to give the foundation for this exponential business growth. Thank you for dealing with the loneliness of the removal of who you thought were your friends, because now we have that community that you were really calling in. Like, thank you. And the best things in life, sometimes there is a delay around it. We do not get it right away. And where is it that we can trust in the process and the unseen forces that are protecting us and aligning us at every moment in time? I mentioned this on some other channels, but I do just want to let my Magic Monday individuals here know where our friend, the plant that used to be dangled right here, where he went. He was like Humpty Dumpty. He did suffer a great fall. Unfortunately, my entire shelf did, actually. Yeah, this photo was what I walked into last week. If you're listening via podcast, I'll just describe it. Essentially, the shelf that's above my head when I film had collapsed, and there was a bunch of astrology books. There was a bunch of heavy, huge crystals. There was a huge plant pot that shattered. And what was really spooky about it is that I was really meant to be sitting there. And if I had not had so many delays that day, so many detours, I mean, Mercury retrograde, it's like things go wrong. Technology goes wrong. Plans go wrong. Like, there just is a need for flexibility. This was a day that so much had gone wrong. And if you would have asked me at that moment, I'm like, ugh, everything goes wrong. The universe hates me. But in that moment, seeing all of that stuff on the ground and knowing that it would have landed on my head had everything gone according to my schedule was a moment that I was like, okay, universe, you do your thing. I trust that every moment that I was held up, I trust that every obstacle that I encountered that day was to really protect me. And sometimes we are being protected from things physically, or just like that opportunity is really not for us. That person is really not for us. I saw a TikTok the other day that was like, sometimes you will be crying on the other side of locked doors that have nothing on the other side because you're like so sure this relationship, this thing, this opportunity. And the universe is like, yeah, you don't want to go there. Or me beating myself up all day like, girl, you got to go film, like dealing with so many issues, so many things that were holding me up. And the universe was like, just chill. Okay. We don't want your head to get a little bonked. You just never know. And I'm not saying you have to live in fear. Definitely fasten your shelves with metal fasteners, not plastic. And maybe don't put up all of your astrology books. I most certainly learned my lesson on that one. I'm not saying we need to live in fear, but in that traffic delay, in the time that your toast burnt and you had to remake your toast, you never know how you are being protected. Like whether it's information that surfaces, whether it's some sort of holdup, whether it's someone who rejects you, you never know what it is that you are being spared from. And with Sun trine Saturn, it's like having patience in the universe around universe. Okay, you do your thing. I really wanted my phone to work correctly so I could get to the meeting without having to print MapQuest directions, but let me be patient. Let me let the universe cook for a second. So with the Scorpio Sun trining Saturn in Pisces, it's a reminder that good things take time. Solid things take time. Let the universe do its thing and pay attention to where your creative energy is flowing with the Sun trining Jupiter, letting the universe cook with its timing, or in setting you up on a more solid foundation with Sun trining Saturn. I also want to highlight that today at 12:36 p.m. PST, Mercury in Sagittarius will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. So tomorrow, Mercury re-enters Scorpio, and this kicks off kind of like Act 2 of our Mercury retrograde. And so in finishing off Act 1, Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, Mercury sextiles Pluto, which does give focus, especially to Mercury retrograde matters. You know, contrary to popular belief, Mercury retrograde does not mean that the sky is falling down. Calm down, Chicken Little. It can be a really helpful time to complete the incomplete, to tie up loose ends, to reassess, and to renew is also alive with Mercury sextile Pluto. So this could be really wonderful to look at your website and contemplate, is this in alignment with my branding now, but also the direction that I want my branding to go within? This could be really optimal to look at a certain project and take a step back. You know, sometimes when we're so lost in something, we forget to tune into the big picture of it. And Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius can be that, taking a step back, which can show up, of course, with your work projects that are ongoing, but also with your life altogether, taking a step back around what is meaningful to you, what your legacy will be with Mercury sextile Pluto. You know, with Mercury retrograde and Jupiter retrograde, there could be some soul searching that is transpiring at this particular time and asking the questions that only you and your soul can answer. And even the big picture of your life, what has meaning to you? What will remain? You know, Pluto can take us into some deeper places. This is a sextile, so it's a soft flow of energy, but it's really like contemplating, is this the direction that I want to go within? It's reassessing, reviewing, and also renewing. You know, we are before this Wednesday's new moon in Scorpio, which is a lunar phase that's around shedding and releasing. It's a reminder that our new life will cost us our old life. Our new phone will cost us our old phone. And there's a bit of an optimistic energy, I would say, with Mercury and Sagittarius sextile Pluto around that process, around, well, of course, I have to let go of this particular phone. I've had it for 7 years and this new phone is so much better. Or, of course, it's a grieving to let go of this place that I've lived in, but I'm so excited for the next adventure. Of course, this website has served me for this part of my journey within my business, but it's time to call in my new ideal clients and customers. This is not me suggesting that you need to do the most like in-depth website reset with the technology. As I highlighted, technology stuff backfires. Even our protagonists, what are you doing? Buying a phone during Mercury retrograde. But sometimes life calls and things happen and you just have to do what you have to do. But it's my encouragement not to do anything too crazy as it relates to like technology. It just could be helpful around reflection, tuning into the bigger picture and knowing whatever it is that we're calling in this week, part of that requires letting go. And it feels like being in a more optimistic mental space around that process of letting go. The moon is in Libra in the beginning portion of the day. It squares off with Jupiter in Cancer. So there can be a focus on connection. You know, you and your coworker bestie could be looking at your birth charts and talking about your human design or like going deep into a certain conversation. The moon will enter Scorpio at 1:44 p.m., squaring off with Pluto in Aquarius in the evening time, the afternoon time. So there could be a fear of loss of control, fear of the future, being very existential. Maybe earlier in the day, you're just heeing and ha-haing with your coworker, talking about your chart and discussing your 8th house rulers and going deep into conversations like that. But then with the Scorpio moon squaring Pluto, like really think about your 8th house ruler and being like, dang. This also could be, I mean, this happens at like 5 p.m. for a lot of places around the globe. It's like completely dark at 5 p.m. So you could just feel like your mental health takes a hit, your emotional health takes a hit. You could just feel a sense of like doom and gloom kind of creeping in on Monday evening. And the encouragement with Mercury sextile Pluto also exacting on the same day, that grand water trine happening on the same day, go in the direction of where there's flow, what creates a sense of meaning, what makes you feel connected to something bigger than yourself. It's important to really work the muscle of our coping strategies this time of year. Our rituals and our routines are really a necessity this time of year because it can be all too easy when it gets colder, when it's darker out. We can forget to do the things that consciously curate joy It's not just an accidental byproduct that happens within our life. We have to intentionally curate joy. Same goes with meaning. Same goes with connection. And with Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius and Scorpio, it could be a brilliant time to reconnect with things from the past. And so if you are someone where you used to love to get witchy with it, you used to love to have your practices and your rituals, but life and you haven't been prioritizing it, Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius, and tomorrow it shifts into Scorpio. This is such a beautiful time to reconnect to those parts of ourselves. Again, Mercury retrograde is not a cursed time. It's just around moving with the energy, and it could be really wonderful to reconnect to things from your past, especially if you feel the fall time scaries, the daylight scaries, the winter scaries, whatever that you want to call it, like creeping in. That's where it makes it even more important to really commit to your rituals and routines. And maybe for some of you, things that you used to be very connected to, maybe reconnecting with that version of yourself and bringing it into your fall scaries, winter scaries, daylight saving scaries, what have you. On Tuesday, November 18th, at 7:40 p.m. PST, Mercury retrograde ingresses into Scorpio, which kicks off part 2 of our Mercury retrograde November 2025 story. Part 1 was Mercury's journey through Sagittarius from the 9th to the 18th. When it was retrograde in the mutable flames of Sagittarius, there could have been a focus around communicating your truth, wanting to speak your truth. With Mercury retrograde, there could have been miscommunications and snafus that had you fired up. There could have been an impetus to want to correct the narrative or communicate what your perspective was. And Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, part 2 that we are beginning today, it's less about calling out and it's more about listening, tuning in, observing. People will tell on themselves if you listen. And so this is an energy where you could find that you are being intentional with what you are saying and what you are not saying. You could be really listening to other people and what it is that they are truly saying. You could also be looking back in the past and seeing things from a different lens. It's a bit like when you look at old journals. And, with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, we're all channeling our own inner spy with our little magnifying glass, right? And with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, you could be reviewing things from the past and seeing something different. It's a bit like an investigator reviewing a cold case and noticing something different. And I doubt there's any investigators here in the cosmic corner of the internet. Who knows? Maybe there's one. But you could be doing that as it relates to the files of cold cases in your life, right? Like you could look back at journals of when you were heartbroken over some person and now looking at it with a magnifying glass, reading between the lines, seeing things differently because you're in a different state of mind. Maybe the investigator at the time of the case being opened would have looked at the case and only saw this person as a culprit. But now that your mind has shifted, it's so clear that this piece of evidence should lead you here. Like sometimes we can make discoveries years later into the future. And yes, sure, when it comes to investigations, just in case there's any investigators here, but also within our lives, if there's some sort of loose end within your world around why did that person break up with me, or why did that affect me so deeply? Sometimes when you revisit the photos, the archives, the journals, you see something more clearly, and it helps you in the closure and the completion of that season of your life. Mercury retrograde in Scorpio wants us to fully internalize all of the data, all of the hints, all of the clues. Yes, Mercury retrograde can make us reminisce on the past, but Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius wanted us to take in all of the wisdom from those experiences, and Mercury retrograde in Scorpio wants us to take in all of the hints and the clues from those experiences. And so you may find that you are looking back at old photos, old journals, and viewing it differently. Mercury opposes Uranus. Sometimes when we have distance from a situation, we see it more clearly because you writing in your journal, you were so convinced that the person from April 2011 was the one. You weren't able to see it from a different perspective around looking back in the journal and being like, oh, that person wasn't crap. And sometimes that helps us in the calling in because we recognize when we view these situations back, it's like, oh, it's not that I'm flawed. It's not that I'm not good enough. It's just that I was asking the wrong person, whatever the situation may be. Sometimes we can find ahas and epiphanies where before all we found was self-loathing. And sure, maybe your journal detailed some actions of yours that were not the best, but being able to go back to that version of yourself and forgive them in order to move forward, in order to evolve. And it's knowing that you take all of those experiences with you into the next season of your life. But if there is something that you've been not wanting to face, I don't want to look at the journals. It was so embarrassing how heartbroken I was. I don't want to look at the images. It just hurts me to see. Again, this is not me saying that you have to do exposure therapy this week or anything like that, but you might see it from a different perspective. Sometimes we can build something up within our mind to be so much scarier than it really is, and thus taking up more space and room within our life than it really needs to take. And especially with us being the day before the new moon, there could be an energy of release and being able to see something clearly, reading journals when you were 7 and how you were wondering if you were the problem within your parents' relationships or something like that. And sometimes from your viewpoint now, you're like, oh, honey, like, no, like you just view things differently through time. And even if you do release the journals, even if the photos do get deleted, like even if there are things where we do let go and shed, because that is the ask of life, you take those versions of yourself with you. You take the memory of those people that you shared those experiences with you. It's not attached to these particular things. And sometimes when you're moving into a new house or a new season of life, you can't take everything with you in terms of the physical belongings, but the heart is a magical thing and it holds room for all of those things. And it's not that releasing the journals that you are neglecting that 7-year-old version of you. It's not that having those photos accidentally deleted is not honoring your grandpa's memory. Of course, we never want something to get deleted if we did not intend it to, but it's knowing that the next season of your life may require some sacrifices in terms of the physical belongings that you take with you. And sometimes there's an ask to look at the stuff, review the stuff. There could be focus on that. And today, the moon's in Scorpio all day long, and it aligns with Venus. So there can be a focus on the depth of connection within your life, like really wanting the friendships and connections who really deeply see you and honor you. And really wanting the sacred real estate of your heart and your soul to go to people who are worthy of it. And knowing that the heart has the ability to still love people, even if we don't have their photos anymore, even if we got rid of their love letters when we moved, whatever it is, it's knowing how enduring the heart is. And so it's also knowing even if certain experiences didn't work out, even if people that we love dearly are no longer on this planet, they're still a part of us, and really relishing in the people who have earned access to the reservoir of your heart and your soul and your loyalty and your devotion. And calling in people who are genuinely worthy of that. You know, with like tomorrow's new moon, calling in soulful connections, people who have your best interests in mind, people who will help you grow. Like, yeah, if you make a prayer like that, the universe may speak to you in terms of people who are removed from your experience. You know, you got to let the universe cook. Like I said, you got to let the universe do its thing, because true, deep, powerful connection is worth it. And it's my belief that you do not have to have people in your life just for the sake of having people within your life. Like Scorpio energy really values depth and really like quality over quantity, regardless of how things look on Instagram, like really wanting those people who are riders, who will ride with you, and people who genuinely have your best interests. That's why, you know, with removal prayer or anything where it's like, I'm calling in friends who have my best interests in mind, and then all of a sudden something happens where 3 friends fall off the face of the earth. Well, the universe handled that for them. Well, the universe told on you for you. You have to let the universe cook. You have to be certain on the what you desire or the what sort of bonds that you are calling in, but be open to how the universe delivers that. And sometimes it's around removal of people or things in your life that are getting in the way, that are blocking the road of what it is that you desire, as well as people who are just not meant for your path. Again, trusting in the protection of it. I know sometimes if you've ever had someone evacuate from your life in a very confusing way where you didn't fully feel like you got all the closure. Maybe Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is like rereading the text messages and journals around like, what did I miss? We don't always get to be like our inner investigator and be like, oh yeah, okay, I didn't see it then, but I see it now. Maybe that's for some. Sometimes it's just like, no, it's just random. It was just random. They stopped talking to me. They just like fell off the face of the earth. It's important to view that rather than viewing that through the lens around, oh, they just decided that they hated me. View through the lens around the universe must have been looking out for me. The universe must have been in rooms that I was not. It saw their heart that I did not. It saw their intentions when I did not. And I have to trust that that door that was slammed shut and locked in my face, there was nothing behind it that was really for me and for my highest and best good. Do not cling to things that are not for your highest and best good. It will just bring more darkness your way. You do not want or desire anything that the universe does not truly want or desire for you, or anyone that the universe does not want or desire for you. And sometimes when you crave depth and loyalty, there are periods of your life where you do feel a bit lonely. You know, like I highlighted, it's getting a little colder, it's getting a little darker. It can be a time of year that feels very isolating. But Scorpio season is a reminder that things are always changing and evolving, and to really strive to build a very sacred connection with self. Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, soul searching and deepening your bond with self. You are the love of your life. And with Moon Venus, it could be a reminder of that. And you could be spending time with people who you have a really deep connection with, bond with, or again, there could be an energy of reminiscing and feeling how enduring the love is for those people. You know, even if something horrible went down, you still love that person. It takes on different shapes and forms, but love is something that endures. And so it's also knowing you can love someone and let them go. Like those can exist at the same time. And sometimes to love is to let go. Here's what you can expect on Wednesday, November 19th. Expect the unexpected because Mercury, the messenger, is opposing Uranus, the planet of what is unexpected, what comes out of left field, where life throws us a curveball. Yeah, that's Uranus. And so there may be text messages that make us do a double take around, I know that's not the name that I just saw on that phone. Or you could get an email with a title that catches you off guard around what? Or even like a headline in the newspaper around that cannot possibly be real. Please tell me that's not real. Or even in the workplace cafeteria, hearing a little bit of tea and gossip around they did what with who? Like something could just be out of left field. And sometimes Uranus energy is very like hee hee ha ha, like random, weird, eccentric sort of energy where, wow, I just never expected the quiet person at the cafeteria would say something like that. Like it just caught me by surprise. I just was not aware. Or why is this person that I have not talked to in 7 years blowing up my phone randomly? Like there just could be certain things around like, huh? Didn't see that coming. Wasn't on my Mercury retrograde bingo card. And with Mercury opposite Uranus, this also can indicate technical difficulties, hence the focus of this vibe check. There could be certain disruptions that occur around your technology or even miscommunications that transpire. You meant to send a text message and for some reason didn't send it, and the other person was waiting for you to reach out. Like there just could be certain glitches and snafus that are alive currently. And it's important to know that this Mercury-Uranus tension is even more highlighted because it's pulling the sun and the moon into it. The new moon conjoins Mercury. So today we also have the Mercury Cazimi that exacts after the new moon. So information is being spotlighted. Things that were in the shadows, things that were secret, but maybe always there and lingering are now being revealed. And it could catch us by surprise with the opposition to Uranus. This can also indicate a need to be very intentional with your words. Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. Be careful what you ask for because sometimes the universe delivers it in unexpected ways. Our words are spells. So being very conscious where you are complaining about something around, I hate this car, I want a new car. Like, do you realize what you're putting out there? It's just being conscious of that, of the words that you speak, because sometimes the universe takes us very literally around, oh, you hate your car? Okay, flat tire to push down the first domino that will lead to subsequent events that will support you in getting your new vehicle. You got to be mindful with your words with a new moon right on Mercury and speak it into existence, but being open to unexpected ways that the universe may deliver it to you. And seeing how even in the random unexpected occurrences, the universe could really be looking out for you. You know, tomorrow we have Uranus sextile Neptune, and because Mercury opposes Uranus today, it also trines Neptune. And so it's knowing that sometimes these unexpected occurrences, these technical difficulties, these setbacks can really be the universe setting us up where, yes, it sucks when your phone's not working, but how aligned and beautiful that it happened at a time that they're having this amazing sale and you're able to get this new phone and you're going to be able to capture all sorts of new beautiful memories. Like sometimes you really are being protected truly in what is transpiring, as random as it may be. And sometimes it's challenging to be in that space of gratitude, right? Around it's okay that my phone's not working because I have a new phone. Like there's elements of it where it sucks. I lost photos. I lost memories. I lost the opportunity to fully grieve that relationship from April 2011 because I was just so scared to open that folder of photos. I also feel like I'm grieving the version of myself, like who I was when I had that phone. Like it's not saying we have to rush to the other space around being all love and light and gratitude around it. Like ultimately that is ideal. But sometimes things catch us off guard. Sometimes we just feel very mentally disturbed. You know, with Mercury opposite Uranus, we can feel agitated, having a hard time focusing. Like if you guys watch these, you know that oftentimes the experiences that I have in recording these episodes oftentimes reflects the astrology. And dear God, my editor deserves some sort of award or trophy for dealing with how I've been in the process of recording this episode, because Mercury opposite Uranus could make us feel like our brain is scrambled eggs. Like, who is there? And with Mercury retrograde, feeling like things are on the tip of our tongue and having a hard time focusing. And with Mercury trining Neptune, it's honoring where your focus is going and how there can be divinity to it, where sometimes the universe will draw your awareness to certain things, the headlines that you see, the text messages that you just so happen to see flash on this person's phone. And it's not saying you need to get like this, you know, that meme with the guy and all the red string and he's linking everything together. It's not saying you need to get all like this about it. Although Mercury retrograde in Scorpio could kind of have you like that. It's not saying you have to get all like that about it, but it is acknowledging, you know, the universe could be drawing my awareness to these arenas purposefully. And what am I meant to, oh my God, I hate everything that's coming out of my mouth. But I also need to be mindful of that because words are spells. And today's the Mercury Cazimi. So also just being mindful if you ever make disparaging comments like that to yourself as well. Today would be a day to really be intentional around what it is that you are saying. Only put out, I'm calling in a new car if you are ready and prepared to release the old car. Only say I'm calling in a new phone if you're ready and prepared to release the old phone. Only say I'm calling in friendships that have my best interests if you are ready for the universe to reveal who does not. Like we have to really be careful what we wish for and be ready for it. And outside of me just having scrambled eggs for a brain this entire forecast, I do want to highlight it's so wild because you may have observed the lighting has changed since I first started this forecast. And that's because in the middle of this horoscope, I had to go sell my car, which is like so random. And it's wild because it really is our vibe check coming to light. And I did not do that intentionally at all. It just so happened today was the day that it sold. And it's emotional. You know, we can say things are just things, but it is a loss or a grieving when the first home that we grew up in sells, or the phone that we navigated life with from 2017 to now we are releasing. You know, people could say it's not that deep, but it's Scorpio season. Okay. Everything's that deep. You know, it is a grieving of who we were in that season of our life and the memories that that device, that car, that home saw us within. Like there is a grieving to that. And the car that I just sold was the only car that I've ever had. It was the car that got me to point A to point B my entire adult life. And so there's a nostalgia with that as well. But It was my grandma's car before it was my car. And my grandma is no longer here on this planet. She's in my heart forever. She's in my dreams often. She's part of my spirit team for evsies, but her human form is not on this planet any longer. And the car was like a tether to her. Again, with grief, we let someone go or something go a million times over, where even in the vibe check, you've grieved your grandpa, you've grieved the relationship from April 2011, but it's an ongoing process. It's not overnight. It's not sudden. There's rungs of it. There's layers of it, the releasing and the letting go. And I was like surprisingly emotional, like selling this car because it felt like a link of us, but I realized I didn't need the car to still feel connected to her. Like I'm just as connected to her as I am now as I was when I started Magic Monday, even though now the car is no longer in my possession. And there was a grieving in that. Like, of course, when we have to release the phone because it no longer works, or when we have to release the relationship because it doesn't align, when it turns out that a friend is not for our highest and best, like, of course, there's a grieving to that, but it's also paying attention to the space that opens up. And so if you are not ready to release the old car, if you are not ready to fully release the old relationship, this would not be the new moon to call in the new one, because it's going to make you do the work in order to get there. This is not a new moon that helps us bypass that helps us just have the new relationship and avoid all of the foundational stuff, all of the healing, all of the reworking that we have to do, or add in the soul aligned friends without doing the work to purge the connections within our life that are not good for us. Like, this is a new moon that's going to make you do the work, and it gets deep and it gets intense, and it's both a receiving with it being a new moon as well as a grieving with it being in Scorpio. And are you ready for that? Are you ready for the universe to answer your prayers? Mercury trining Neptune, this new moon trining Neptune, in random, unexpected ways, the opposite to Uranus. You might have just said, I want a new phone. You didn't think it was going to show up around waking up and it's a totally black screen. So it's just being mindful of that when it comes to working with the new moon. Exacts at 10:47 p.m. PST. And so it could be really aligned to do some sort of ritual only if you are connected to the intricacies of this new moon, if it feels in alignment with you, as well as if you acknowledge certain loose ends from your past or things that you need to close out from the past in order to move in this new direction. Again, it's a Mercury retrograde. And so there can also be an energy around having to release anything that is in your way. Loose ends, energetic cords that are keeping you from moving in the direction that you really desire. Sometimes it's not around the addition of the new, but the removal of the old. Or sometimes it's not about more power and energy and focus towards getting to your chosen aim, but more so opening the road. And that's what this new moon feels like. On Thursday, November 20th, Uranus in Taurus and Neptune in Pisces are holding hands, essentially. They're making a cute sextile aspect to one another, which is a soft flow of energy, but it's an opportune one. If you reach for it, if you activate it. And this energy exacts today, but you have this energy available far beyond just today, the 20th. But it is powerful that it lands the day after the new moon, because to simplify this energy, it's your prayers being answered in very unexpected ways, or change being orchestrated by the divine, by the other side. Uranus is around innovation, shifts, shockwaves. And with the soft flow of energy to Neptune, it's how it is that our angels, our spirit guides, our ancestors are orchestrating things on the other side in order to bring the changes into our experience. Again, the changes that we are soulfully aligned to experience. Because I talked about this earlier. Yes, this is a new moon that's very potent and powerful around what you're calling in, but it's also knowing that sometimes you are denied things, not because your spirit guides hate you, not because your angels are your ops, but because it's really not in your highest and best good. And you only want things that are in your highest and best good. And sometimes you are blocked from certain intentions and manifestations because they are not that. As well as sometimes certain changes are thrust upon us. You know, Mercury opposed Uranus and trined Neptune yesterday. You could get surprising news this week that makes it clear that your life is going to change. And, sometimes that's around, you see something clearly around your own psychology, around your own path, and you're like, I've got to change something. Or sometimes you get an offer letter, you get an opportunity to buy a new vehicle, something new comes into your awareness that makes it so clear that your life is about to shift and change. And it's recognizing how things are aligning on the other side. And you could have fear about it, but also trusting this is coming up for a reason. And what is Scorpio season if not an opportunity to shed our skin, to evolve, to grow? It's the final day of Scorpio season, my loves. And so with Uranus sextile Neptune, it's looking for the ways that your prayers are being answered in unexpected ways by where our attention is being focused. With Mercury, what are the odds we would read that particular text message on our partner's phone? What are the odds that this particular business issue would come up a week before we get a rush of orders to our e-com business? Like, what are the odds? And what would it look like to dance with the universe around observing the signs and synchronicities that are coming into your space and seeing how it can be the universe bringing to action the change that we've been praying for is really the energy here. And so keep in mind, the new moon energy is still accessible and available. I personally use a window of up to 3 days after the new moon exacts. So I like to work with new moons in the waxing portion because it is around creation and building. And with Uranus sextile Neptune, it's knowing, the universe, the divine could have some twists and turns of how it will get you to that destination. But it's also knowing if it's meant for you, you will get to that destination. And you may be an evolved version of self when you do arrive there. And so I would also say, in terms of your intentions this week, keep it a little open. Just be open. Money finds me in unexpected ways. I get random deposits in my bank account. I'm actually kind of tripping out because this morning I was doing a meditation and there was a couple affirmations within it. And one of the affirmations was random deposits hit my bank account all of the time. Uranus and Taurus does bring up financial themes, and the sextile to Neptune and Pisces can represent help from the other side. As I was doing the meditation, I was like, I'm open for random money to find me today. And I kind of assumed it would come through my business, but instead I sold my car. But hey, I'll take it. That car was a 2002. So literally pray to God that somebody wanted it, but it was steady. It was reliable. You know how it goes with Hondas. Those things can last through a lot. But anyways, you just never know how your prayers could be answered. Maybe not even in the avenue of how you would expect it to come in, right? Where you could have said, I want a new phone, and not been aware of the road that the universe would take you in order to get you that new phone. It's just important to know your blessings get answered in unexpected ways, and sometimes after some time. We had Sun trining Saturn earlier this week. Mercury will trine Saturn this weekend. And so early in the morning, the Scorpio moon will trine Neptune, sextile Uranus, and then the moon enters Sagittarius at 2:26 a.m. And the Sagittarius moon will sextile Pluto in Aquarius, which is around resilience, where, again, you can feel a grieving around, my old phone is gone, my old car is gone, that old season of my life is gone. But it's getting excited around what's to come. And sometimes you got to pep talk yourself. You got to cheerlead yourself. I kind of crashed out in my little 2002 Honda saying goodbye to it because I was just so hung up in all of the memories within that car, both time that I spent with my grandma, as well as like the process of becoming a woman and all of the road trips that I've taken it on and all of the safety that it's provided me. Like, I felt very safe within that vehicle. And what helped me shift gears from the crash out was around tuning into the adventures I'm excited to go on. And even within our protagonist, rather than freaking out on what is departing around this phone, does it work anymore? And it had these photos on it and they can't recover it. It's tuning into new photos, new memories, new adventures that I get to set off on with my children and being able to take photos and not fight for my life around storage. Honing and focusing on the new, not forcing the new. Mercury's still retrograde, but it's getting excited about it and allowing that to revitalize you or re-energize you, especially if you're going through it. And it's knowing you can always take more photos. You can always make new memories. You can always find new ways to honor those who have passed on. So you can always begin again is a reminder with the sextile to Pluto. And you might really need that reminder because as we navigate towards the latter part of the day, we do have the sun at the 29th degree. So Friday afternoon, the sun will ingress into Sagittarius. And so the sun is positioned at the 29th degree of Scorpio. So sometimes it can feel like a crisis. Things can feel really existential. Again, there could have been some news that catch you by surprise or information that was revealed where you cannot go back to who you were before you knew that. Like there can be an energy of urgency, intensity, or the life that you knew is crumbling down. And there's an encouragement to tune into, but my new life is just beginning and I can always begin again. On Friday, November 21st, Sagittarius season does begin today, but before it does, Scorpio season has two more things that it has to say. We have Sun opposite Uranus and Sun trining Neptune in the morning time, which is a continuation of what has been alive and building during the new moon. But it's also knowing any intention that we set, any desire that we call in, it's not just the thing, it's the version of ourself who has the thing, the transformation necessary in order to be that, have that, sustain that. And so with Sun opposite Uranus, it's also being willing to see yourself in the lens of having that thriving business or being someone who has that intimate, deep, soulful bond that you are calling in. It can be a self-concept shakeup, as well as knowing that you need to believe in yourself because the divine believes in you. And the ideas that are coming in or the new eras that are coming into your world, if you're having any imposter syndrome around, can I do this? It's knowing you can. And it's not that this is just happening to you, it's happening for you. And oftentimes new things entering our life are invitations for us to arise to the next season of our life. You know, as we wrap up Scorpio season, it's a reminder of what really matters. But belongings can be such a fascinating playground to experiment with different versions of ourselves. So our protagonist within the vibe check, like, yes, it's just a new phone, but this could be a new phone of a new era around, you know what, this is a new era that I'm fully letting go of my relationship from April 2011 that I'm still hung up about. This is a phone that person will never be able to harass me on. This is a phone that I'll be able to document these amazing memories with my children, as well as tune into my new botanist era, because I want to get more into plants. Like that's a meaning that's assigned to the phone. The phone is just a phone, but where things get magical is when we assign it a particular meaning or enchant it with a particular why. And so even with my car, you know, I have a new vehicle. Her name's Cardinal. She's a baddie. She's like this cute little red car. I'm obsessed with her. And it's not just about the car. Like, yes, it is much farther ahead in technology than my 2002 Honda. For sure. But it's like the energy that I feel when I'm riding in this car. And that transfers outside of it. Like when I roll up to events now I get out of my little cute car and I just feel like the most actualized version of myself. Like it's a confidence that transcends the vehicle itself. The vehicle is just a vehicle, but I've assigned it this meaning around the most confident version of myself who knows how to parallel park flawlessly drives this car. And that version of me transcends the vehicle. Like literally the way that I would never parallel park in my 2002 Honda because I was so scared. And for some reason, first time I drove my new car Cardinal, I parallel parked like a champ on a busy street. Like that was a moment for me. And even outside of technology, like this could be a new vanity, like enchanting it around. When I sit here, I allow myself to become the most beautiful version of myself. Like we can really enchant anything that we own and tap into our own higher self's essence vibrationally and spiritually. That's what this Sun opposite Uranus trining Neptune feels like to me. But it's also around if some sort of change was thrust upon you, you learned information that was not ideal and you're not sure if you're going to be brave enough in order to start your new life or to change your life in this direction. It's knowing I've got this. I might feel a little shaken up now, but I know that I will be okay. I'm going to make that the case. I know that the universe thrust me into this purposefully, that I was made to learn this. I was made to find this out in order to embody and become the next version of myself. And so it's knowing with the opposite to Uranus, there could be chaos transpiring, but every change, every chaotic circumstance is an invitation to rise to the occasion. So will you rise is the ask. The moon aligns with Mars in Sagittarius around 3 a.m. So you can wake up a little fired up, a little feisty. You could be forced into taking action. Like there could be something that kind of just like gets you out of bed. You could wake up a little aggravated or a little activated. You know, with opposition to Uranus, with Moon on Mars, something could be unpleasant, but still be an invitation for you to move into the next season of your life. And sometimes we need something that makes us mad enough that we are inspired to move into the next season of our life, to rise to the occasion, whatever that may be. And I want to be so clear. I'm not saying you have to force all of the changes, to launch all of the changes with Mercury retrograde, but there can be an energy where transformation is necessary. A new season of our life is here. Are we going to rise to the occasion? Again, Scorpio season brings in a little bit of crisis energy. So that could also be alive with your early Friday around just like work issues and problems and chaos. And how is it that you rise to the occasion? This was in the vibe check around, there was so much chaos around this meeting, but the moment that you walked in, you know, you hid your MapQuest directions that it took to get to this meeting space, but you walked in and you rocked it. You know, you can perform well under pressure. Every sort of stressful circumstance can be an invitation on how you will rise to this particular occasion and feel like a badass when you do. The sun will enter Sagittarius that evening at 5:36 p.m. And I want to take this opportunity to wish a very happy birthday to all of the archers out there. Who would we be without you? Truly, who would we be? Where would the zodiac be without your sense of adventure, without your sense of humor, without your zest for life? Thank you for making this experience a more magical place to be in. Thank you for every time I'm having fun with you, because I think that's the only mode of expression around a Sagittarius is having fun. You all make my world feel bigger. You make opportunities pop up out of nowhere. You make doors open that were before closed. It just feels like you all make the world a more magical place. And you also astound me with your wisdom, with your philosophy, with your desire to seek out new experiences and new ways of seeing the world. I feel like every time I spend time with a Sagittarius, I feel soul invigorated, like excited to experience life and to explore. And so I hope that you all have such a magical season celebrating you. I'm most certainly celebrating you. And with this all navigating Sagittarius season, there can be a desire to get out there into the world. You got a new phone with a new space. Time to take some new photos. Time to get a new man. Time to have some new experiences. On Saturday, November 22nd, this is a blessed day if you are looking for blessings. There is an ask to make a decision today in your morning meditation, when you are making your coffee. I am a magnet for blessings. I call in blessings to myself and opportunities to myself, because those sort of things will only be found this weekend if you are looking for them. If you make the conscious decision, that is what I am looking for. I am a magnet to blessings and opportunities because I look for evidence that I am blessed and look for proof of different opportunities that are around me. It is incredibly important, the lens that you view this weekend with, because let's be real, Mercury's in a fixed sign. Sometimes we could just be in a bad mood or just be fixed in a certain mindset that is not serving us. Of course, my phone turned off. Of course, I got held up from being able to film at the time that I wanted to film. Of course, the universe hates me. Like Mercury's retrograde in a fixed sign. Sometimes we could be very fixed in a particular perspective. And when we're locked into a particular perspective, we look for more clues and evidence that that is the case. So in the vibe check, running late for this meeting, having to print out directions, cursing the day that you were born. In that particular perspective, you're more likely to clue into the evidence that everything is going wrong. So when you're in the car, you're fumbling with the directions, you are cursing everybody else in the way that they're driving, you don't like any of the songs that are on the radio, you are assuming the worst about the upcoming meeting, you're just in a negative headspace, which happens. But what I want you to be very conscious of is choosing to be very intentional around looking for reasons that you are grateful, or just making that decision around today, I'm a magnet for blessings. Today, I'm a magnet for opportunities. Mindset work, I know it's cliche, we hear it all the time, but it is so powerful. Like truly, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. Like transformation can be found within our perspective. That's not me saying it's everything, that we can get ourselves out of a bad situation by just thinking good thoughts. But what I'm saying is it's training your brain to look for things to be grateful for, because that is just a more powerful frequency that you emit. It's almost like the energy that we emit the vibe of gratitude and divinity and awe, it just extends further from us. It's just more potent. When we are negative, when we are low vibrational, when we're just looking for more proof why we're doomed and the universe hates us, it just doesn't extend as far. And oftentimes that's why it feels like when you're having a bad day, everything else goes wrong because you're already in that spiral. Versus if you're in a positive spiral, it's like things are aligned and I love my hair today and my outfit looks great. It's like other things just click and it's your vibe. It's extending from you. And that could be something that's inspiring and magnetizing. And so it's not saying that everything is going to work out perfectly this weekend. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying with Mercury and Scorpio trining Jupiter, trining Saturn, look for proof that your life is going well. Look for proof that it's all working out for you. Look for opportunities to learn. We're in Sagittarius season. Look for opportunities that will grow you, that will expand you. Really challenge yourself to view things in a positive lens. Even if something doesn't work out, it's around, oh, I guess the universe is just preparing for me to go to Bali next year instead of this year. Or, oh, guess this means I'm moving into a new era with my new phone. Whatever it is, strive to shift things into a very positive conclusion and know that you may not get the proof of that being the case for some time, just with Saturn involved. Like you may not know why this particular opportunity didn't work out. You may not know right now why you're experiencing so many delays around this. You will see with time. Let the universe cook. Your work in the interim is to be grateful for what is alive currently and to look out for opportunities to learn, to expand, to grow. That is your work at this particular moment in time. And so Mercury trines Saturn in the morning time. So this can be an energy around getting absorbed in a certain project, reviewing something that's been ongoing, redoing something that's been ongoing, editing something. You could be in a very focused headspace. And then Mercury trines Jupiter at 3:37 p.m. PST, which could be helpful for learning, exploration, expansion. But really all are linked within today's grand trine. And there's parts of that are woven into our lunar story as well. We've got the Sagittarius moon trining Chiron shortly after midnight. The Sag moon will square Saturn at 5:13 a.m. PST. You could wake up a little grumpy, drained, even burnt out, wanting expansion, wanting exploration, but not feeling like you have the time for it or the resources for it or the ability to move towards it. And that's where it's important to give yourself a pep talk around, I may not have everything I desire right now, but how can I move in the direction of what feels expansive, of what feels exciting, of what even just flows at this particular moment in time? What interests are captivating my attention? What conversations feel very deep and soulful and heartfelt? What topics do I want to write about? It's pep talking yourself out of the blah. Is the energy here. And the Sagittarius moon will square Neptune at 1:48 p.m. So it could be an energy run getting lost in a good book with this Mercury grand trine, getting lost in a good conversation, getting lost in a class, getting lost in something. Sometimes we find ourselves when we lose ourselves. Sagittarius season, we find ourselves when we lose ourselves in a trip, or we find ourselves when we lose ourselves in a museum, whatever it may be. There could be a nudge to do just that on Saturday. And then the moon will enter Capricorn at 2:53 p.m. PST, which may draw your awareness to what it is that you are wanting to build, what it is that you are wanting to ascend to. On Sunday, November 23rd, the Sagittarius sun will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. This exacts at 11:20 a.m. PST, which is a reminder that exploration changes you. Every experience changes you. You would not be who you are today had you not gone on the detours that you had taken. Like truly, if you are in an energy with Mercury retrograde around thinking back to all of the mistakes that you made and viewing it through this lens of self-loathing, please recognize you would not be here if you were not there. You would not have the story to tell now had you not learned the lessons there. And it's also honoring the wisdom that it gave you, even within those dark times that you went through. There's an element of this Mercury retrograde that can be around forgiving or compassion, even just with our earlier aspect of Mercury trining Neptune, around looking back at the photos and the journals and having conversations of the past, but viewing it from a new lens around I was hurt and I was flailing and I was looking for relief to my pain in any way that I knew. And I can lament the waste of time. I can lament the mistakes that I made, or I can choose to move forward. Today's aspect is around moving forward. And knowing those experiences teach us, they shape us. This life can take a lot from us, but it cannot take away the strength that we build in those times of challenge. It cannot take away our resolve and willpower that is necessary in order to get to the other side of something challenging. So that could be woven into your Sunday, as well as saying yes to a trip, saying yes to a class that changes you, changes how you view yourself even. Saying yes to an invitation, a creative invitation, an educational invitation that will change you, that will transform you. And the moon's in Capricorn all day long, so there could be a focus on ambition, prestige, career. Just remember to adventure and have a little fun with us now being in Sagittarius season. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, may all barriers, obstacles, and challenges in the road towards my desires be dissolved. Affirm this and claim this. Like I said, yes, the Scorpio new moon can be around calling in this, but it's more so around releasing anything that is in the way towards that. Because you will get to where you are destined to get to, but sometimes we do have certain challenges or hindrances in the way, whether that is time, the intention isn't ripe yet. There's certain people that we need to meet with or connect to before we're able to get to the other side. Sometimes it shows up around bad habits that are in the way, where it's like, okay, you say you want to be this version of you who's running this multi-million-dollar company, yet you spend most of your time doing A, B, and C. Like, that's incompatible. These habits, how you're living your life, is incompatible with this particular vision. Or you say you want that soulmate, yet you're still pining over this person from April 2011. In order to let the road open, you've got to be willing to part with the barriers and obstacles and recognize that they're just that. They're barriers and obstacles. And sometimes we can cling to things because we're fearful of the unknown, fearful of what it would look like to really embody what it is that we desire. And so are you willing to sacrifice your old life for your new life? Are you willing to release what within your life is really just a barrier or an obstacle? Are you ready for the road to be opened? That's what the Scorpio new moon is asking you. So if you made it to the end of this forecast, go ahead and comment below the magnifying glass emoji or the little spy emoji. Just with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, it gives very spy energy, reviewing the hints and the clues from the past, looking in the inner reservoirs of our own psyche, as well as this weekend with that grand trine, looking for hints and clues that everything is working out for you, that everything is aligning for you. Trust me, if you look for those sort of clues, you're going to find them. Thank you all for participating in Galactic Givebacks. A reminder that this week's episode proceeds will go to benefit South Sound Parent to Parent. If you also feel inspired to give, I will drop the link below that you can also donate, but know that just you being here is going to support the cause. So my loves, happy new moon, and see you again, same time, same place next week. Until then, drink lots of water and stay magical.